one of the lines in the film. So it's reward always matches atrocity.
Yeah.
I'm in no way, shape, or form saying that this movie is an atrocic experience or is an atrocity, but I meant because it deals with darkness and things like that. I'm curious to know like what have been the rewards for you in this experience. I love the movie, by the way. Just so you know.
Cool. I mean, this moment right now is a reward for sure.
Yeah.
You know, getting to be in this fantastic fest with this sort of enthusiastic audience that are willing and open to seeing new work by filmmakers. That's incredible, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and talking to you and just basically being in a situation where people are interested in what I've created and want to discuss it with me. That's amazing. You know, like that doesn't happen to me or most. That doesn't happen every day, right? So I'm really and the other thing that the reward is the movie itself. You know, I mean, this is something that I struggled to make. I had to, I found the money. My wife and I found the money ourselves. There was a real starting from nothing kind of experience, right? And so it's been an absolute marathon. I mean, it's been 5 years, right, to this moment. So, and here we are. So this is a reward, but hopefully the experience is the reward more than anything else. The doing of it, the working with the actors and working with the crew and engaging in story and hopefully that's the best reward.
It's interesting because after watching it, I'm like, I thoroughly enjoyed this. And I really got pulled into the situations and the characters' conversations and all these things, all the spinning plates that you have here, which I can't imagine what it was like going from one plate to the next. But then the feeling of walking away from it, like, what does that say about me that I really liked the darkness of this?
Yeah, but I like it too, and I think that I think that the viewers, we like darkness because we don't have to live it. I think that's why people like horror films. Yeah, exactly. And I think with this movie, Nick is, the character of Ryan is this flawed character who's dealing with all the stuff that's like really stressful, and because it's told subjectively, because we're experiencing it with him, then we're kind of attached to him. But on one level we are, but on the other level we're sitting here and we don't have to really deal with it. And so we're kind of going through the experience, but it doesn't have the consequence that it does for him. And so that's enjoyable because it is, hopefully it's a suspense movie.
Yeah. But I am, while watching it, having to remind myself, it's just a movie.
That's right.
There's another line that I got pulled into, and it was happens pretty early on, conversation between two men, and one of them says, like, my life is not all glamour, like there's a lot of things that are going on, and it had me thinking about how everybody just deals with things, and it might be dark things, it might be secrets and stuff like that. And so it just had me having this dialogue within my own head about the faces, the different faces that we wear, and how you could be one person in front of one person and then go into it next year, completely different person. So how did this film cause you, or maybe you've always been thinking about it, about the different faces that we wear and the secrets that we may bury, and does it cause you to be a more open person, or are you more observant of people now?
You're talking about my whole thing, man. I mean, everything I write about is like mask and persona. I love that as a theme of films, and I feel like that's I agree with you. I feel like we're all actors on some level. We're all performing all the time. I mean, I've often thought, I remember this guy I knew in school, and I liked him well enough, but every time I was with him, I didn't like who I was when I was hanging out with him. And I didn't know that he wasn't doing anything. It was just him and his energy and my energy together.
So you had a bench, she's a Sheeran kind of.
Yeah, a little bit. And so I think we're complicated people, our psyches. But I'm very interested in personas and psychology, and this is the stuff that I tend to return to in my writing a lot.
Yeah. So throughout all this, and you're ratcheting up the suspense, but amid all that, there's just these truth bombs or nuggets of wisdom and just little moments. I'm going to reference a moment that happens at the very end that I found incredibly impactful. It was like a graduate type of moment, but there's like a flame in the background. It's just like these little things that I'm.
Oh yeah, where yeah, the flames. Yeah, it's like his whole life is in flames, right?
Yeah,
he's leaving it behind. Yeah.
So, what poetry are you plugging in? All I want to know is just like, what are you plugging into to just come up with all these little moments and all these little details, and do you think about viewers' multiple experiences? Because now when I'm going to go back and watch this, I had to think about another moment that happens earlier, where somebody finds something, and it's so hard to talk about this movie sometimes. But I just thought, oh, that's why. So I'm just curious about that.
You know, I think honestly, I worked harder on this script than I had on any other script because I recognized that it needed that level of attention and detail for it to operate at the right capacity. And it meant that I just had to keep pushing myself to make sure every scene was working on a few levels and working within itself, but also working within the character. I mean, I worked on it and worked. It's just labor. It's just labor. I just worked on it and worked on it and worked on it. Sometimes you can overwork something and you can ruin it. But in this case, I think I was quite determined to make it feel like a watch, you know. And I think that, you know, one of the things that I knew I was hoping to do with the writing was, because look, I'm a film fan, right?
Yeah.
I'm an audience. I'm as a filmmaker, I think like an audience. Like I want to be entertained. I want to be engaged in the story. I don't want to be talked down to. I want my, you know. There are lots of, you know, filmmaking idioms that I aspire to in this movie. One of them is what Billy Wilder said. He said you give them the sum and then they come up with the answer. So Billy Wilder's like, I say 1 + 1 and I stop, and then you say 2. You're the audience and you say 2. So Billy, that's how he made movies. I always love that, you know. And I think I've tried to do that here. And the other thing, you know, is just, you know, just working on these narrative. So in this film, there's like a narrative arc going like that, and then just as that one's resolving, there's another one picking up, and then so I try to keep. We're talking about plates, I guess, or I'm trying to keep these circles happening that connected, but are all independent at the same time, and that took labor and just energy, you know.
Yeah, well, it really paid off. I got really excited when you mentioned the watch, because that was one thing that I was going to bring up too, just because I really took to just the idea of just simple pleasures in life, and that's like what you may be hanging on to. Right. So I'm curious what those simple pleasures may be for you. What is your watch?
Right. I think. I don't want to sound too corny, but I think I have children, and my simple pleasures is when I'm actually having a relaxed, authentic blues conversation with my kids. You know, where no one's trying. It's just really magic. You know. I also like it when people cook for me, because I cook for everyone else. So when someone cooks for me, I just love it. I'm just like, this is amazing, and I appreciate it because it doesn't happen all the time. You know. I don't know, just good vibes. People that are putting out good energy and you're giving good energy back, and there's no conflict. You know, I like that. I mean, yeah. As I've gotten older, I've gotten simpler, I suppose.
So maybe not ramen noodles in 80s movies.
Right. I kind of thought this movie might feel like an 80s movie. That's why that line is there. I don't know if it does feel like an 80s movie in the end, but that's kind of what that's why that line's in there.
Yeah. I want to wrap up with. These, I talked about little moments, but there's also little moments of comedy too that kind of speaks to my twisted sense of humor. There's a scene at a dinner table where somebody laughs at probably not the most appropriate time, but then the audience knows, oh, I know why he's laughing, and that's why it's great. So when you were growing up, were you the type of kid that was just laughing at people getting hurt or things like that? Like what shaped your twisted sense of humor?
I don't know. I've always had this. I like ridiculous humor. I like things that are sort of I have a dark sense of humor for sure. I mean, have you seen my first film?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's more of a comedy, and that's pretty much my sense of humor in that first film.
Yeah. Well, man, I really can't wait to see where you go from here, because this is pretty high bar.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.